All right, guys. We're back for our top 10 games for this year, 2025. So before that, Merry Christmas to everyone. So I did play a lot of games this year, but probably half of them I wasn't able to, at least the ones that I was interested in, but did not have the time to play. So a lot of things happened this year for me personally, and I'll save that for another video. A few games that I wasn't able to play would be like Arc Raiders, for example, Ninja Gaiden 4, Death Stranding 2, Split Fiction, the Gears of War that was released on PlayStation and well, obviously Xbox. Elden Ring Night Rain. I wasn't able to play that as well. Doom, Lost Soul aside, the new Dying Light Beast game. I forget the name, but yeah, it's the sequel to the first one, which I should have played, but I just didn't have the time. I think Onimusha 2, if I'm not mistaken, it was released. So or it was previewed. I can't remember if it was released, but yeah, I wasn't able to play that game as well. But yeah, I think that's it. So just going through this list, this is my own personal list. So if you have a problem with it, I guess just make your own list. What I'll change throughout this list is just ranking them in order and not rating them at all. So if you can just visit my past playthroughs to see what my rating was. I'll just explain why I give it this rank and why it's included in my top 10. Just to get started, I'll mention a few games that are like pretty much honorable mentions, but they did not make the top 10. So to get started with the honorable mentions, this is probably very controversial to some people because this might be in their top 5 or even their top game this year. But for me personally, it's Monster Hunter Wilds. I did not include it to my top 10 simply because the honeymoon phase of this game was very short. And when I mean short, sure, it's a multiplayer game and a single player game. So you go through the whole single player campaign more or less. And then after that, that's when you start, having fun with the game. You start playing with other people. You start doing the raids, the hunts. At a certain level, this is just based from my experience. You get that repetitiveness already, and this is, I'm just talking about the first maybe 2 to 3 months of this game. This game did not get as much updates as it would, at least from my perspective. I think it should have gotten an update like every 2 months at least, and when I say update, should be a big update from either new map or a new set of monsters to hunt. But like when you reach level 100 or maybe even level 150, you get that Monster Hunter fatigue, as I should say it, like because everything's just repeating itself again, and with this repetitiveness, going through the hunts over and over again, sure, you can change your class, you can change your weapon to however you want to approach it, but it's still the same monsters and it's still the same environment. The same thing you do, you hunt, you mine, you skin, it's just everything all over again, and that's what I kind of got sick of, to be honest. And sure, once you learn the monsters, their weaknesses, their gimmicks in a fight, you can just apply that and help other hunters, hunt more or less. Sure, there's a grind to it. You get rewarded by crafting materials, rare items, and this and that. But there's a certain point where the fatigue really kicks in, and this is not just me. Like I follow a lot of streamers online, and even the big streamers and even the big Monster Hunter fans. Like I see them, and I'm talking about Monster Hunter Worlds, so like the fans from World to Wilds. I see them getting more or less, I wouldn't say bored, but they tend to move on to the next game, and that's what I think Monster Hunter was in the first 3 months. And eventually it did get the big updates, like the Final Fantasy one, where they had the Omega Raid boss, which I missed out on. It's just I didn't have a reason to go back and learn the game all over again, and spend a lot of time on it. It's just there were a lot of games that were coming out this year, and then my focus was just on that. Another thing I forgot to mention for Monster Hunter Wilds was when the game launched, it was poorly optimized, and this was not just on console but even on PC. So even the people with the high-end PCs had a hard time running this game on a stable 4K 60 for those crazy people out there. But even for the 1440p or 1080p, obviously you adjust your settings to what your build is, right? It was still a struggle for them to reach 60 FPS or stay at the capped 60. Sure, it can go up and down, but you don't want to experience a game with FPS running from 60 to 100 every now and then. You want it locked at 60 for sure. That was what I was hoping for the console. Yes, it did have a lock 60, although it still dipped, especially with graphics quality. I think the graphics quality even dipped below 1080. To a point that it felt like Final Fantasy VII Rebirth, where it looked so mushy and like you feel like it lacked a lot of detail. So yeah, that's just another gripe that I should say that they did fix eventually. Like up to now, we're still getting updates for the graphics and optimization. I'd want to test it out on Steam also with regards to this new PC I have. But yeah, we'll revisit that maybe in the future. So the next game would have to be Chronos: The New Dawn. I'll just give this a pass on what rating I gave it. It was actually an 8.5 out of 10. Like, this rating was pretty high. It was actually higher when I was playing the game, but like after a while, it also had that repetitiveness. To me, I enjoyed the game for its originality. It is very unique in a way. Although it did have a lot of inspiration from other games such as Dead Space, Resident Evil, Silent Hill. Obviously, this was the team that made the Silent Hill 2 remake. You see it in this game, and there's a lot of lore in the game going back and forth with discovering new things, especially on new playthrough. But I think the story wasn't that great after you learn what's going on. Like towards probably 3/4 of the game, you understand, okay, I think I know where this is going. And then once obviously the game ends, that's when you have your conclusions, and you can play the game all over again. But the only changes through that game are technically very little towards the end. You're gonna go through another maybe 15 to 20 hour campaign, and then just to see more about that story. But the story, yeah, just going back to the story, it's okay. It's okay. I do like the sci-fi time travel aspect to it. Spoilers. But the world that they built, even the world building throughout the game at least grabs you in such a way that you continue the game, and you actually enjoy it. That's why my rating for it was 8.5 out of 10. I think it's worth playing, worth picking up. And yeah, as much as possible, if you have an OLED, you'll also enjoy it more on that OLED, because the blacks that this game produces, and I'm talking about the lighting and the setting of the game, you're gonna appreciate it a bit more, especially if you like horror games. Okay, my last honorable mention would have to be Where Winds Meet. And yes, I know, this is a free game, totally free. It's a gacha, yes. But you don't need to spend a single thing on the game. You can still enjoy it, unlock your full potential, or unlock weapons, even without the skins or all the other gimmicks to it. Yeah, obviously, it'll take a much longer, and you can cut corners by spending. I should say this game is great. I wanted it to be like a background game. When I talk about a background game, is if I have games lined up for stream, and let's say there's a more or less like a dead day where I don't know what to play, then I can always boot this up and just play this game and pick up where I left off. That's how I see this game. I didn't think this game would get me addicted like other streamers or other gamers out there. I think it's just okay. the world is beautiful, yes. They also have a bit of, problems with the optimization of the game, especially on PS5. But I really can't complain about that because it's a free game. So there's a certain, agreement where, since considering this is a free game, anything you experience that's negative shouldn't be counted for it, because technically you're just playing the game that you like and you didn't pay a single thing for it. That's why, I can't put it on my top 10, but it's worth mentioning because what they did with this game, I don't know how long development was, but what they did with this game did grab a lot of gamers, and at least for me, I'd still go back and play it again. Okay, so for the first one on the list, for the top 10, and this is also controversial because a lot of haters for this game for some reason, especially because we had a female protagonist and a male black protagonist, which I still don't get up to this day why they gave so much hate for it. Even if it is talking about the samurai culture and considering how the Assassin's Creed lore, sure, it goes historical, but it's very fictional as well. Like, the biggest example for me was having Ezio Auditore in Assassin's Creed 2 be friends with Leonardo da Vinci, or having one of the assassins, I think it was still Ezio, kill the Pope. So things like that, you can build a world historically to one for one, the best way you can, but it is a freaking video game, dude. You're still talking about fictional people, fictional characters, a fictional world that people built just for our enjoyment. So, but yeah, I just don't get the hate, So moving forward, I did enjoy this game. Everything about Assassin's Creed Shadows, which is obviously based in Japan, a lot of them, for some reason, I like to compare it to Ghost of Tsushima, because that was also based in Japan. But as much as possible, I don't like comparing. It's just my gripes with Ghost of Tsushima was answered in Assassin's Creed Shadows, which were the weapons. Like the weapon variety in Assassin's Creed Shadows, oh my gosh. The fact that you can use the enemy's weapon, or you can have your own, different 4 to even 6 weapons if you include the guns, and maybe even more than that. Yeah, the variety of the weapons, and sure, there's still repetitiveness in an open world game, but there was a lot of things to see. For sure, it was a beautiful built world. I think it was Anvil that they used, the Anvil engine. Like, the world building was actually really good, to be honest. And comparing this to the other Assassin's Creed games, I think they did well. To a point that, even on launch or after finishing the game, I still gave it a 9, a generous 9 out of 10, simply because I had fun. You don't need to base your experience on moral beliefs of historical figures. Honestly, I did not feel bored after maybe just trying to be a completionist with it. Like, I think I did not platinum this game, but I think at the end I was able to do the full hit list of both characters. That's when, like, towards the end, that's when I kind of got the more repetitiveness. That's the reason why I did not platinum the game, because I also did not want to ruin my experience with the game. Most of my ratings in this top 10 are basically 9 out of 10 and up. For this, the next one is the first Berserker Kazan. And I had no expectations for this game whatsoever. I was gonna come to this game very, how do you say this? Very new to it, more or less. But I knew it was like a Souls game, with an idea of maybe more action to it, considering what we saw in the trailers. To start off, I actually like the art design in this game. A lot of people did not. But to me, like, sure, it did lack a bit of maybe detail here and there, or maybe polish in terms of finishing up with the art. But I think with how it looked, it still blended well with the themes of the game. With first Berserker Kazan, Dude, the action is so good. I'm just super disappointed it wasn't nominated for Best Action Game. I think I'd even take out Battlefield 6 and put this there because, this deserves a nomination. The combat in this game is so well polished. Like, I think in my review, I only complained a little bit about the combat where it just needed a bit more accuracy where you're pointing your weapon to a certain enemy. Because, like, especially in Souls games, even if you're quite to the side and your weapon still hits the enemy, that should count. But then this is very precise. If you're not in front of the enemy and you're quite to the side, sometimes that hit doesn't land. Even if you're doing a wave hit, or even if you're, like, let's say you're using a spear and it's a wide attack and your enemy is to your side, it sometimes does not register as a hit. So that was a small gripe for me, but, like, adjusting to that and knowing that while you're fighting, I think that erases it. And also the adjustment to, character gimmicks, or I mean enemies gimmicks, or certain phases in the boss fight, and also the weaknesses, like things you have to use in the game to utilize to your advantage when fighting these enemies. I think they were all great. They all blended well, and the story was good. Like, the story picks up once you start understanding what's going on. It starts off a bit slow, but then towards the end, you're like, oh, okay, all right, this is happening right now, and I wonder where it goes from here. Because, like, even with this ending, sure, you can still depict that there will be a sequel, but you also don't know what's gonna happen next. All right, we're back to Japan again, and as you know it, we're talking about Ghost of Yotei, and this came out a few months, or maybe several months after Assassin's Creed Shadows. I think 6 months after Assassin's Creed Shadows. I'd say it's better than AC Shadows. It did also answer similar things to my gripes with Tsushima, which were the one weapon, which was the one weapon throughout the game. And this one, at least they gave you more weapons and even guns. So I think they're even based similarly to the same generation, maybe a few years apart with AC Shadows. Going back to Yotei, for me, Yotei, how do you say this? Yotei was very unique. And if I were to compare it to Tsushima, sure, it had the next gen optimization, right? That's what I'll say. But in terms of innovation, it was still there. Like, the only innovation I would say would be the weapons and maybe some aspects to the game. Like, it's the same blueprint. A lot of people that I know that played Tsushima didn't even bother to get Yotei for some reason. Because I think just by looking at it, like, okay, I can experience this game later on, or maybe when it becomes cheaper. But there's really no rush whatsoever to play this game. That's what I'll say. Like, I wasn't able to make a review for this game. If you guys have this in your backlog, it's a good backlog to have. You will enjoy it for sure. Yeah, there is no rush. There is simply no rush to play this game. It's very similar to Tsushima. The story for me is a bit better. It is also very predictable. At least with Tsushima, sure, the story was okay, but it wasn't predictable. Like, I did not predict that ending. But this ending, you kind of know what's gonna go on even before it happens. And oh gosh, you'll really know, like especially towards the end, like, okay, sure, we're gonna just save the day. Beautiful world, don't get me wrong, beautiful world. I loved my first 3 days on it. I actually platinumed the game, so that's a big plus. If I platinum a game, dude, that means I love the game. So I did love this game. I will say again, there is no rush, and if you were to get this a second hand, like, I'm talking about physical games, if you were to get this from another seller, go for it. I mean, if it comes out cheaper, buy it cheaper. Okay, so this one is very special for me, and this is a multiplayer game to start off with, and I think this game deserves to be in anyone's top 5, top 10. It's actually on my top 7 right now. Um, it's Battlefield 6. And Battlefield 6, I kind of lowered my expectations here because of the previous Battlefield, which was 2042. And obviously, we know how that kind of flopped and wasn't that fun. But there's something about Battlefield 6 that is so good that it made me forget about Call of Duty. Like, I already had my bad experience with Call of Duty considering what they did with my account. Throwing my hate aside, dude, the experience with Battlefield 6, and I did get this game really late. Like, I got it probably a month after, but I did play it early. I played the beta early. I played the free to play during that weekend because I really wanted to go back to the game again. And then I've been playing the free battle royale, which is Red Sec. So I've been, I wouldn't say grinding, but I've been playing every now and then before I got the full game. And when the moment I got that full game, oh my god! Even if you have to fill the lobby with bots, because obviously I play in odd hours or off hours. This game made me bring back friends from high school or friends from even grade school to play video games again. I think that is a big factor to my gaming experience because we have, okay, just to give you guys an idea, me and my friends haven't played a Battlefield since 2013 or 2014. That's more than 10 years ago. And the fact that we started playing again, and it's not just because we're playing again. It's just also the game itself. We're enjoying the game that to a point that we're having those moments of fun, laughter. Battlefield 6 gives the most epic moments in a video game that I have ever experienced recently. And I'm talking about a multiplayer game because usually I experience these things in a single player game, but experiencing that movie cinematic moment with your friends and just laughing about it and you're hearing their laugh at the other end is just it's great. And especially when you win and you win as a team with good communication and good strategy, man, that feels really good. That feels so good to a point that the camaraderie is very, very rewarding. And at the same time, as a streamer, I like to look back at footage and, those moments are unforgettable. So, yeah, that's why I have to put Battlefield 6 in my top 10. Okay, for this next one, we're actually back in Japan again. But this is time for horror. So, yes, so I'm talking about Silent Hill F. And Silent Hill F, again, also lowered my expectations for this. Although the last Silent Hill, which is the second Silent Hill 2 remake, I think the Silent Hill 2 remake was awesome. I did enjoy that one. Going back to Silent Hill F, the great thing about this game is they did not. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I don't think they've ever had a Silent Hill based in Japan. So that was a good thing for me going into this game. That okay, we experienced Japanese horror, and I can't wait to see that, right? The experience in this game, the world building, and how it starts until it ends. Oh my god. This was a crazy ride. Like, it's not just horror, as I should say. It's also psychological, without spoiling too much, but there's a lot of human interaction or human mindset, more or less. I'm trying not to spoil it, but it all connects really well. It aligns well with the story, with the items you use in the game, with the notes or the papers that you read or the books that you read in the game, and even like certain moments in the game where you have to pay attention, and it all goes back realization that okay, wait, that has more meaning to it. And I really try my best not to spoil it, but without spoiling too much, the game it's a very short game. Just to start off, very short game, 10 to 12 hours, you're done. But the game makes you want to play it again and again. And if you know Silent Hill lore, there's a certain thing there that you have to revisit certain events to understand the whole story a bit more. It's just like watching a movie again. When you watch a movie the first time, okay, for sure, you understand the movie, you like the movie, great. But some movies needs a second watch or a third watch for you to pick up a few things. Silent Hill F, there are more surprises because on second playthrough, certain scenes change also, depending on your choices and also depending on the path you're on. I did not platinum this game. I think I just finished it twice, if I'm not mistaken. Yeah, I just tried to get some certain endings and doing things differently on my second playthrough. But the horror aspect to it, I wouldn't say it's crazy horror, but it is somewhat freaky. Like, I can withstand what's happening with Silent Hill F, but it's just disgusting sometimes also. Like, it's more disgusting rather than it is scary. That's what I'll say. But it still has some that scary factors to it. Especially if you change your difficulty setting on the game. There are certain parts of the since you know the game already. For example, if you played it in an easier mode, then you played it on a harder difficulty. The second the harder difficulty will change up your game so much that you think you know what's gonna happen, but it doesn't happen, and something else gets you throughout the playthrough. So we're in the top 5 portion of this list. To start off, we have Metal Gear Solid Delta. And you ask me, why is Metal Gear Solid Delta in your top 5? Simply because it's the best remake, one for one, that I have ever seen in video game history. Think about it. This game came out in 04, 05, correct me, but I think it's 04. So it's been at least more than 20 years ago. Let's just start off with that. And this game, considering it came from another engine, so Konami used Fox engine at the time under Kojima. And what they did with this game, they transferred, I don't know if transfer is the best word, but they transferred the engine to Unreal Engine 5. And in Unreal Engine 5, this game got a facelift that was so good that it still was one for one. The remakes nowadays that we get obviously have different changes. So let's start off with the Resident Evils. Resident Evil 2, Resident Evil 3, and even 4. Those remakes, I think 4 is the closest to one for one, but even that game had very different stages and very different, events to the game. Like, even the sequence is also very, very different. But is it one for one for those 3? No, it's not even one for one. Even my Final Fantasy VII remake and rebirth is not one for one, obviously. And there are different aspects to that, to why it's that. So we'll get to that next time. But like, even other remakes, like maybe Dead Space is the closest one, I would say. I think Dead Space is a good one for one remake. But is it as good as Metal Gear? The one thing I'll give Metal Gear is a one for one, but they added to it without destroying the game. They added a new button remapping. They added a new camera POV. They added certain maybe UI assistance to it. Like, let's say when you pause the game, you can find out how many items or Keratans you're missing, this and that. So that just adds to more help, more assistance to the game. It's not breaking it whatsoever. But damn, this game is beautiful, dude. I saw a lot of complaints with frame rate and optimization coming into this game, but usually I tend to avoid that to experience the game for myself. And sure, it did have frame drops, but those frame drops did not compare to your Wukongs, to your Monster Hunter Wilds, to your Where Winds Meet. Those frame drops were bad. right? The ones I mentioned were really bad, but damn, the frame drops here are playable, and they don't really ruin anything. It happens, here and there, but in a part where it's not like you're gonna die because of them. That's totally normal with video games nowadays. You can't have the perfect game. No game is perfect, so it's just enjoying this one for one and reliving that moment. And even the gimmicks in the game are still there, like having that dream where you're in the jail cell. That's still there. The code to make these games run, every single gimmick is in that Metal Gear Solid Delta game, and that's pretty surprising considering that came from another engine. And for those who don't understand, that's really hard to do in development. But yeah, that is part of my top five. Okay, so this next game came into the list very, very late, that I had to bump out Chronos from the list. And damn, this game surprised me. I heard a lot about it before I played it, so I had to play it. So the game is Dispatch, and for those who don't know, Dispatch just came out, I think, early November, if I'm not mistaken, or sometime in November, and then it concluded for 4 weeks after, basically a month after, because it was episodic. They released 2 episodes per week. When I played it, I binged the whole game. I played it in 2 sessions on stream. Damn, that game. If Die Hard is a Christmas movie, then Dispatch would be my Christmas game. Dispatch surprised me in many ways that I didn't think a video game like this would surprise me. Because it's a simple freaking game that you just pick choices, work as a dispatcher. So basically a dispatcher sends people to do jobs or to do other things. But with the story, without spoiling too much, you're a dispatcher for superheroes. So you send them to missions around the city, trying to fight crime or either save a cat from a tree. That alone will get you thinking, wow, how is this fun? How is this not boring, right? But the whole game has its own story, and even for me, I consider this a TV show. The way you play this game is like a TV show that you binge, but you control it. So the choices that you make also affect the outcome throughout the game. From what choices you make on episode 1 will also affect choices you make on episode 7 and 8, even the events that will happen on those episodes. So that's a really, really very interactive game. It's just like, I don't know if you guys ever read the books Choose Your Own Adventure, but it was like that. You choose your own adventure, but this one is not like you're flipping to different pages of the book. This one, you're just going through the story, but the story changes with the choices you make. And with that, the story is great, very simple, but very unique, because you've never heard of a dispatcher of superheroes. With what happens in the movie, with the game, it also felt like a movie. But with the things that happens to the game, you feel like you're the main character, which is great. And with the choices you're making, it's also affecting you as the gamer or as the audience. To like, oh no, did I just make the wrong choice? And I don't know who to pick. Having that, affect you in such a way is so great that these are the small things that every video game should have. Because people just play video games just to shoot, just to, play with their friends, or just to, I guess have fun, basically. But if a video game gives you more than that, from laughter, jokes, entertainment, playing with your with your feelings, those things, those can really grab you. And the fact that I finished it in 2 sessions, dude, I really wanted to know what happened next. So yeah, I highly suggest you guys pick it up, because if you guys played the Telltale games before, which is the Walking Dead ones, these are the guys who made those games. So something happened to them, I think, back in 2018, 2019, and then I think they came back together and made a and they formed a new studio, which is Ad Hoc Studios. So yeah, they made their first game, which is Dispatch, or yeah, their first game for the studio, which is Dispatch. So yeah, guys, it's very cheap on PlayStation and Steam. So pick it up, and it's worth your time because I hear the second playthrough is also quite interesting. All right, so the next one be Hades 2. I had high expectations for this one for sure because I loved Hades 1, and I didn't think they would have enough for me to put it on my top 10. I did play the beta early also, and I got the game for free upon launch. So I did play the launch game, the finalized game. Damn, this game had great innovation from the first one to a point that it's like you're playing. Sure, you're playing Hades again, but you're playing a whole new game that you really have to adjust your builds, your planning moving forward, because it is a roguelike. So every run or every start to finish is very different. So you really had to plan out your strategies moving forward. And this game is actually harder. Like the difficulty of this game increased by a lot, which I like. Like, you don't want to finish a game right away, right? Which I haven't even finished Hades 2, man. And it's already in my top 5. That's the thing. I haven't finished Hades 2. It's that good of a game to put it on a top 5. Imagine that. I just can't wait to go back to it. It's one of those games that I like to put on, I wouldn't say backlog, but, more or less as a backup game. Like, just like Where Winds Meet, if I need something to play, I can always boot up Hades 2, and it's here and there, right? Because it's a roguelike. It's a quick, easy run. Oh, not easy. Quick runs. And then either you finish the game or not, but you just move on and you get stronger every run. That's it. So, yeah, Hades 2 is there, and I guess you guys should play it the moment it comes out on console. And it's right now, it's out on Steam and Switch 2. We are in top 2 territory, and the top 2, surprisingly for the first time ever, I did miss out my last game of the year last year, but we all know who my top 1 was, which is Final Fantasy VII Rebirth. But for the top 2 for this year, they're both indie games, and I would never think that I'd put an indie game on my top 2, but damn, these 2 indie games are very different from each other. One is multiplayer and one is single player. Well, the multiplayer one you can also play as a single player, but it's much better as a multiplayer. So for the second game, for the top 2 game, is Peak. And I actually forgot to put this game on the list until recently when I was doing my year-end compilation, and I noticed, damn, Peak is all over this compilation, and I think I should put it on my top 10. And I thought about it really hard, like, where would I put Peak on my top 10? And I think it deserves to be number 2. Straight up deserves to be number 2. This game, fairly simple. Hiking, either by yourself or with a group of people. And then the thing it promotes is a really great adventure towards the end. There's a difficulty aspect to it for sure, but playing with other people, you have to play as a team. Like, you can't just go on ahead out of the rest. Sure, you can for those who are like speed runners right there, or who already know the game from top to bottom. This game, damn, it has the best probably has the best moments I've had this year. And this was through mods. So when I talk about mods, you can add more characters to the game or more players to the game. The limit here is 4, which is, I feel, is enough, but also, would have been better if it could have been 10 or more. So we had a mod in the game where we could make it up to 20. And then I think there's a session where we were 15 to 17 people. Oh my god, dude. That was the most fun I've had in a streaming session ever. As in ever. I think I did a 6-hour stream session or somewhat around that time frame with this game. And I was sick. I was sick to the stomach. Like I couldn't even speak well. I couldn't even, you know, I was coughing throughout the whole hike. The best moments of this game come when someone dies or someone falls, and you're just laughing like it's real life. Like you're hiking to this mountain. Each of you have like an apple to bring or a coconut to bring, and then you have to work as a team to reach the summit. And it's just the things that this game makes you experience is uh not like any other game, wherein the thing is so simple. The multiplayer aspect to it is so simple. Experiencing it with other people, especially a group of a lot of people, like 15 people. You're all in this together. That it's like you're not playing on a virtual screen, right? That's what I'll talk about. It's more or less, it's so hard to explain that you really have to experience peak at its peak. But the game gives you that wonder of what's gonna happen next. Like who's gonna be the next one to make an error or make a mistake in terms of climbing, or going the wrong way. And even if you know the map, because the map does change every 13 minutes or every 3 hours, if I'm not mistaken. Even if you know the map, the surprise factor is still there. Just like any other mini game, let's say Legends of the Hidden Temple. But at the same time, obviously you don't want to die. But if you do die, you still see your friends go throughout this whole hike, and they can still revive you. But at the same time, you see their POV, their point of view, that okay, all right, this part is very interesting, and you learn from them, and how they do the game itself. So yeah, it's one of the funniest moments of this year. You should check out the year-end compilation and see what I mean about it, because man, playing this with a lot of people just gives more enjoyment to it. All right, I think it's obvious who my top one is, and oh my god, everyone agrees, or I would say a lot of people do agree for this top one, because it was fairly done well. And growing up to the Final Fantasies, the Chrono Triggers, the RPG, JRPG games throughout my life, I think this was a blessing to have Claire Obscure Expedition 33 come out this year. I did see the trailer before this game came out, and I wanted to play it for how cool it looked. That's it. And the fact that it was turn-based. That's why I wanted to play it. I had no expectations. I didn't know how great it was gonna be. It turned out to be really, really awesome. The story, the way it was written, the graphics. The graphics are just okay, but the art style of how it blends in, oh my god, perfect world, dude. The world building here, everything lines up well. Everything I said in the top 10 is in this game. Everything except for the multiplayer aspect, because there's no multiplayer. But what I will substitute to that is the party members. When you're controlling a bunch of people in a party, and you know about them, their life story, their background, that's the best thing about Final Fantasy. Bringing that to Expedition 33, that's the best thing. Like, it's like reading a book or watching a movie. When you know these characters and you see the camaraderie, the banter, the everything about how they blend in with the story, man, that really adds to the game experience. So I don't understand why people would say this game is boring, because they haven't even played it. Recently, Shroud, one of the big streamers, was saying that Arc Raiders should win Game of the Year. Why the hell would Expedition 33 win Game of the Year after Expedition 33 won all the games? Shroud decided to play it, and he said, "Okay, now I understand. That's why you should play this game." This game, it has such good storytelling. I told other gamers to have an audience watch them play it because it is quite a long game. I think upon first playthrough, if you do everything, 60, 70 hours. But upon second playthrough, when I played it over again, it only took me 10 to 15 hours. So that's because, you know what to do, this and that, and you don't tend to watch all the cutscenes. This game had everything there, difficulty, everything was rewarding as well. I tend to explore a lot, and if you explored in this game, 7 out of 10 times you'll find something, even if it's a useless item that you don't need. 7 out of 10 times the game will reward you. And I think what the developers did was to promote exploration, because once someone or a gamer finds something at a corner, that will trigger them to keep exploring around the map, which, as I said again, this world is built perfectly. Like, I don't want to get into too much spoilers, but like certain parts of the world line up pretty well, that it heads you back to a certain home base, and it goes back and forth. So what else can I say? I don't want to bring up too much because I want you guys to experience it. A lot of my streamer friends just picked it up again. I actually bought the game again. I bought the vinyl, so I can't wait to get that. So yeah, hopefully you guys experience this game soon. And that is my top 10 video games for this year. Hopefully we get more or better games next year. We have GTA 6, we have Phantom Blade 0, we have a lot. We have Wolverine, and there are more that I'm looking forward to. And hopefully we also get some FF7 Part 3 news, which I think we will. But anyways, guys, thank you for watching. I am Premier Avenue. I will set up more videos for the next few weeks, and hopefully you guys can check it out. I'll be doing an unboxing video soon. Take care, guys, and I'll see you on the next video. Peace.